All right, so these are the notes for the 1-point perspective practice shapes. You'll need a 2H pencil. I'm using a 2B so that you can see it easier on the projector, but I want you guys to use a 2H pencil. Make sure it's nice and sharp. You'll need a violet, orange, green, light green, light blue, and red. So light green, light blue, orange, violet, red, and a ruler. I am using a green see-through ruler because it looks better on the projector. For you guys, use one of the metal rulers, please. All right, so to start with, we are going to make a horizon line. So this horizon line needs to be halfway through the paper. We don't want it to be tilted sideways or tilted sideways that way. So what we're gonna do is line up our ruler with the line here at the very top. Your paper should be 8.5 inches, so move along the bottom until 8.5 lines up perfectly. 8.5 divided by 2 is 4.25, which 4.25 is right there. 4.25. So I'm going to do one little guideline there, and I'm going to set it up over here and do the same thing over on the other side. 4.25. Okay, this is 4.5 right there. So 4.25 is that line right there. Once you have those two guidelines there, or guide dots, then you can line this up so that it's touching both. And draw your line. We're going to be erasing portions of these lines, so don't push down too heavily. Our paper is 11 inches long. Half of that is 5.5. We're going to make a dot right in the middle. Nice big dot. And we're going to title this Vanishing Point. Vanishing point. All of our lines that angle towards the vanishing point are going to be orange. So we're going to highlight this in orange and underline that. Title of this, 1-point perspective, shapes, practice. One-point perspective, shapes, practice. Vanishing point, 1-point perspective, shapes. I know I got some like artsy handwriting up here. I want everybody following along with this as we do it. So our first shape is going to exist down here below our horizon line. And we are actually going to color code our horizon line right now. Horizon line. Okay. Right now, just do this portion of it red. I'm gonna go out here just a little bit and then we're gonna stop. So we have a few different shapes, angles of lines here, types of lines. The first type of line that we're going to identify is a horizontal line. A horizontal line is one that is parallel to our horizon line. Okay? So H is for horizontal. Line. This is a horizontal line, top and bottom. They're all parallel to the horizon line. So highlight these in blue. The next type of line that we're going to do is a line that bisects, which means is a 90-degree intersection. And this is a V for vertical. Vertical line. Okay. So vertical lines all go this direction. This here is a vertical line, as is this. So once you have the shape determined, the next step is to figure out the vanishing point lines. We'll end up highlighting them in orange, but right now we're going to be using our ruler. So right in the middle here, you want to push this in the middle and line this up and bring this down until it touches the first corner here. Okay, and then really lightly do a line. I'm going to do the same thing until it touches this corner. Put my pencil back at that same center spot, rotate until it exactly lines up with this bottom corner there. Those are vanishing point lines. However, we want to figure out how deep our box is going to be. So to do that, I need another horizontal line. I'm gonna say I think right about here is how deep I want my box to be. So I'm gonna line the edge of my ruler up here so I know I have a completely horizontal line. And when it intersects with this line right here, I am now gonna do a vertical line. So line up the top of the ruler up here, line it up perfectly here, go straight down. Let's highlight these so it's clear. This is a horizontal line. This is a vertical line. And these lines are vanishing point lines. 1, 2, 3. Now when we shade in on a side, we want to change the angle of our line based off of the angle of the vanishing point line. Remember when we did our shapes, geometric form shapes, and I said you got to change the line depending upon the shape of the object? That's what we've got going on here. So shade in those sides. Now we're going to give this a little note here. Okay, this is below horizon line. Okay, The entire shape is below the horizon line. We're gonna practice 2 more that are gonna fit in this space down here. I'm gonna go kind of quickly. Yours might need to be a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller depending upon how much space that you have. I'm gonna do another one here. Horizontal line. Horizontal line. Vertical. Vertical. Now for this one, if I were to go right here and draw a line to the vanishing point from this third corner, it's not gonna work. This shape, because of where it's placed in relation to the vanishing point, is only going to get 2 lines that go back. Here's a horizontal line for the depth. So horizontal, 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 vertical, vertical. This is a vanishing point line. It has a little tiny bit of an angle to it. This has a much more steep angle to it. Shape. Then a little bit of shade in the depth of it here. And here I'm practicing changing the angle based off of the angle of the horizon line. This is a good thing to practice here, because when you do this on your own, in the second half of the day today, you're gonna need to shade it on your own. So there's a second shape. Third one. Make sure every time to line your ruler up along the top of the paper, look straight down on it. So you want to make sure that your line that you're drawing is actually a vertical line or a horizontal line. This last one, again, for the vanishing point lines, you want to make sure that your pencil is in the very center of that dot. With 1 point perspective, it's very important to be precise with your pencil line and to be precise with how you line up and arrange all of your lines. If there's a little tiny bit of a difference in one spot, it's going to make it very memorable and noticeable in the next spot. This last shape we're going to make pretty long. So cut it pretty long here, the straight line, and then where it intersects here, you're now going to do a horizontal line. With perspective, one line is built off of where the other one ends. So if you do the first one wrong, the second one is definitely going to be wrong. So you want to be precise with those. Let's get our horizontal lines highlighted here. Our vertical lines. How many vertical lines does this last one have? 3. How about vanishing point lines? 3. So again, when you're shading, you want your line direction to change based off of the angle of your line there. All of these 3 shapes are below the horizon line. We're now going to try one that is on the horizon line. So to do one that's on the horizon line, that's going to be my first side of my box. There we go. And that line on the inside, gonna erase that. That's why we use a 2H pencil, because it's easiest to erase. And with perspective, there's a lot of what we call draft lines that you end up erasing later. All of these lines back here that are not part of my shape, those are draft lines. We're gonna keep them here on this practice so that you can see what the draft line is. Okay. Now I'm gonna get my vanishing point line. Okay. Line up that ruler along the top. Cut it sideways. Shape is going to be written in here. And highlight. We've got 3 vertical lines. We have 2 horizontal lines. And we have 2 vanishing point lines. Now that we have this shape here, we can continue our horizon line. I'm going to do a little note for this guy so we know, just like here, we said this is below the horizon line, this is on the horizon line. And the horizon line, you'll notice I put arrows on both sides because that horizon line continues off the page. So this is on the horizon line. And don't forget about shading. When you have 2 sides of a shape that show that 3-dimensional portion, you want to make sure that one side is significantly darker than the other, but it's obvious. that it's darker. That's going to be an important tip for when you make your own shapes later today. So I've made this side significantly darker than the bottom there, but this is the bottom of the shape. Gentlemen, I am recording. So I've got this one shape that is above the horizon line. I've got one shape that is on the horizon line, and three shapes that are below the horizon line. The last one that we're gonna do is a special shape. So we're gonna do, and this is gonna be a little bit challenging. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. This special shape over here is going to be a star. So we're gonna start by sketching this top part first. Okay, just like a little triangle. Then we're gonna sketch a line that comes out like that. We wanna turn that into a triangle. And each person's star is gonna be a little bit different. Mine has a really long side over here. They don't need to be perfect. But what you do need to do is have exact edges. So I sketched first. Now I'm going to push harder with my pencil so I can be precise about where the corners are. And you want to make sure that these lines are straight. All right, so when you have a special shape, you want to go through each of the intersections of lines and determine if it gets a vanishing point or not. So I'm going to have you pause and just watch what I'm going to do first, and then you'll do it on yours. So I'm going to start with this point. Line it up. Yes, it's going to get a vanishing point. Now, in order to make this easy for myself, I am going to, with a pen, mark on here how deep I want the lines to go. So let's see, just take a dry erase pen right here. So I'm going to have them go that long. Okay, a ½ inch long. So what that means is that this right here, I'm gonna line up to the tip here. And I'm gonna angle it towards the vanishing point. If along this ½ inch portion is the background, then I draw my line. Okay, that line gets one. This one, if I line it up and draw a line, it would go on the inside of my shape. We don't want that. So that one does not get a line. This one is a no. This one, let's check and see. Gonna touch the very edge, line it up to my vanishing point, and yes, it gets one. Very small one for me. No. This one here, let me check. Line it up, nope. This one, no. This one, yes. Okay, this one, nope. This one, yes. So again, I'm lining this up, going down that ½ inch, making sure it's lined up to my vanishing point. This one is a yes. Okay. So I've gone through all of my edges to determine which get those lines, the vanishing point lines. We just did those vanishing point lines. So right now, I'm gonna go ahead and highlight that. The next thing that I'm gonna do is my special line. So here with purple now, this is my special line of my new special shape, right? This is not a vanishing point line. It's not a horizontal line and it's not a vertical line. It's its own special line. Therefore, the depth of this is also a special line, but this matches this. It needs to be exact, like that. Okay. This line here is a special line. Therefore, this line that I'm gonna make is gonna be parallel to this line here. Okay. This one here is a special line. Therefore, this one, that's not quite parallel because this would be a big space and a small space. You gotta kind of eyeball it and see, all right, that's good now. None of these lines got those vanishing points, so I don't need to do any other 3D lines from them, but this one I do. So with this one, I've got this angle right here, which means right here, I want to do the same angle. That's one angle of the line. I'm going to do the same angle right down here. So it's going to go just like that. And I'm going to highlight it in purple. So that is my special shape. Okay. The vanishing point lines, I do want to continue those as draft lines just so that you guys can see that those are vanishing point lines. So this is its own special shape. And we still need to shade it. Special shape. So your assignment for today is to do 5 shapes. One of them needs to be on the horizon. One of them needs to be below the horizon, and one of them needs to be above the horizon. No special shapes. So no funky special shapes like this unless you feel very, very confident, in which case, go ahead. This is a perfect example of a student version. Notice that there's no color pencil on here. The draft lines have been erased. And each of the sides here, light, medium, dark, light, medium, dark, light and dark because it only has 2, just like ours right here, okay? The sides that have 3, light, medium, dark. This one does have a value in it. It's a very light value, but it is there. Don't leave it pure white, fill it in with something. So light, medium, dark. Please leave the horizon and the vanishing point there, but all draft lines disappear. So this is your task to do before the day is up.